I've been asked today to talk about this thing, water, energy and food. And let me ask a couple of questions first. Do you realize that for every litre of beer we drink, it takes about 340 litres of water to produce that? That's the virtual water value of beer. And last week I was speaking to a chicken farmer, and he informed me that to slaughter one chicken takes 16 litres of water just in the slaughtering process. That's nothing to do with the feeding of the chicken to take it to the point of slaughter. So we have a lot of water embedded in products and services that we take for granted, and we don't realize that. And I'm going to unpack that today, because in South Africa we have a number of strange situations that are occurring. One being that we have the largest city in the world, the great big urban conurbation about to become a mega city that is not built on a river, a lake or a seafront, but built on a watershed divide. And that simple little one-sentence statement belies a whole lot of problems underneath that, because it means we have to pump water uphill at great cost. And I was told just the other day, I was giving a talk at a conference like this for pipe manufacturers, and they told me that 15% of the energy cost in the country goes to pumping water, and that staggered me. I've never verified that number, but it's a staggering number if it's true. So we pump water uphill, and each time we flush a toilet, it goes downhill again. So, right, I'm going to tell you today a little bit about this, understanding the water, energy, food nexus. And I'm going to ask, well, what's water got to do with food and energy? The important thing is that South Africa is a mining-based, water-constrained economy. This is a fact. We are mining-based. We will continue to be mining-based for a period of time, and we happen to be water-constrained. In fact, as a nation, we are a remarkable people, because we've developed one of the most diversified economies in the world for the kind of ecosystem we're embedded in. As I say, we just built this great big mega city that was never planned, never thought about. It was a hectic, chaotic kind of process. When they discovered gold in 1886, no one ever sat down and planned it out. To this day, we still haven't got these great big master plans that the other big cities of the world have. So we are reaching a point now where we are crossing through a threshold. We are reaching the end of a paradigm, and I'll tell you about that now. We're entering a new paradigm, and because of that transition, a paradigm defines assumptions, a paradigm defines a framework of logic on which we make decisions, and that framework is no longer going to be valid. And I heard the Eskom speaker earlier on talking about the difficulties in raising capital. Well, part of the problem of raising capital, I'll explain now why that is, because we're changing paradigms, and the people that don't want to lend us money understand the new paradigm. And I'm going to make a startling prediction here, and I hope I'm vaguely right in this prediction. And I'm going to suggest that in the next 3 to 5 years, the economics of water, energy and food are going to change in a dramatic way. And I ask you to look no further than about a month ago, there was rioting in Mozambique. Now, Mozambique is a relatively peaceful country. I know Mozambique very well. I spent a long period of my life in Mozambique. At the end of the Civil War, I was there trying to end the Civil War. And I've got a very, very close affinity for the Mozambican people, and they're generally very peaceful people. And what happened all of a sudden, out of the blue, unpredicted, bingo, there's a great bunch of riots, people are shot. And what is the underlying fundamental cause of the riots? Water, energy, food. A sudden increase in the price of water, energy, food. Governments can't control these things. People look to government and say, well, we can't pay these things, and all of a sudden you've got angry people on the street. So we don't want that to happen. But my prediction is that these three things are going to change, whether we like it or not, and we can either be responsive to it, or we can react as a result of it. Okay, what is this water problem? Is it a South African problem, or is it a global problem? You're all familiar with seeing maps that are mostly political maps. They show you the political borders of the country with some physical features. Well, this is a map of the world showing river basins, and it's superimposed onto your international political borders, just to give an indication. Red is bad. Red means that there's far too much water, far too many people with far too little water. But the important thing is, in 1990, you'll see that a large chunk of the world, particularly the Middle East, North Africa region, the so-called MENA region, was highly water constrained. But you'll also be surprised to note that the United States of America, the Colorado River Basin, the most litigated river basin in the world, is water constrained. The Mexicans got a bit tense at that point in time, because the Americans let through a tiny toxic trickle of water at the end of the Colorado River. No longer flows into the sea. You'll also see parts of South America are like that, great parts of India. So that's 1990, and you'll notice now at that point in time a little bit of yellow in the southern African region. Let's look forward to 2020, Now you start seeing the Kuvalai River basins and the Limpopo River basins start approaching this point of extreme stress. Red is extreme stress. Now, in Africa, we have 63 rivers that cross international political borders, 63 transboundary rivers, 53 countries, so we have more rivers than countries as a result of our historic legacy. And 10% of those rivers don't flow into the sea. People don't generally realize that. And one of the big rivers that don't flow into the sea is up north, the Lake Chad River Basin, that sustains 30 million people. And we often hear on television about the Darfur crisis, and we don't ask, well, what are the drivers of the Darfur crisis? And that is to do with the desiccation of Lake Chad. So Lake Chad is losing water. People are being pushed off the land because there's no more way to sustain themselves. So these are African migrants. They migrate up north where they start meeting Arab people of Islamic faith, and you now get this clash of cultures, and bingo, you have this festering thing called Darfur. So that's what it looks like in 2020, which is not too far into the future. Now let's start looking 2050, and you start seeing now that the Orange and the Limpopo river basins, the two river basins that cover a major portion of South Africa, that underpin South Africa's economy. What most people don't realize is that our national economy is based on a national hydrology. And work I've been doing in the last year specifically has been linking the hydrology and the economy together, and I'm deeply involved in that at the moment with the financial services people, the people that manage your pension funds. So they start to understand this, and that's very exciting to be involved in. But now we start looking 2070, and suddenly Southern Africa starts looking like the Middle East, North Africa. So the important thing is this is a global phenomenon. It's not a South African phenomenon. It's an absolute global phenomenon. And what we've done up to now, we've grown our economy very rapidly by being very clever. We've got amazing engineering skills, or we had amazing engineering skills in the country. We've lost most of it now, but we've had amazing engineering skills, and we've pushed rivers around. We've dammed them, and I'll give you some numbers now just to show you how we've done it. But the important thing is that change is happening, and there's big changes being driven by population growth, and the volume of water on this planet is roughly the same as it was when dinosaurs roamed the earth. And when you clean your teeth this morning, at least one molecule that you swallowed went through a dinosaur's kidney 63 million years ago, just before the mass extinction. These are facts. These are facts. I'm a scientist, so I work only with facts. So I ask you to ponder this, okay? These are some stunning numbers. Now, these numbers come out of the financial sector after the 2008 global economic crash. When the global economic crash happened, some of the big stockbroking firms started asking questions. How come these companies had embedded risk in them, and they were traded with embedded risk, but they were never reported? So a lot of my work right now is with the financial services people, and they are very, very jittery about trading shares that have got embedded risk. So at the moment, I'm helping the stockbroking people understand how much undeclared risk is in the share portfolio that they have on their pension funds. And it's a very interesting concept. But nonetheless, this comes out of Wall Street, the post 2008 crash, when they started looking at water as suddenly as a problem. And they came to the startling conclusion that by 2025, 1.8 billion people are going to be living with absolute water scarcity. And I'll give you the benchmarks now. But look at this number. Two-thirds of the entire global population is going to be living with absolute water stress. 2/3 of this planet's population. This is a big number. This is not a South African problem. It is a global problem. It's exacerbated in South Africa because we're a young democracy and we're still in rapid transition, and we haven't quite got our institutions sorted out yet, and we've had an outflow of technical skills.